All right, it's 3 realities of dating in Bali. Let's get into it. Let's break it down, sort of stream of consciousness style. Notice it says dating in Bali, not dating Balinese women, because as a caveat, I don't have any experience in that area, just as a disclaimer. But in Bali, you have so many different opportunities from so many different countries. You may never get around to certain countries, but I just happen to never get to Balinese. But that's changing a lot with the guys that are there. I'm going to get into that later. But sort of the attitude of the local women there and the guys' attitude toward local women is changing quite a bit. So I'm gonna get into that, but let's get into this immediately. It's 3 Bs. So these 3 Bs, they sort of encompass everything I'm gonna get into. It's gonna get a little bit deeper in the end because I'm gonna have to dig to make this B make sense, but let's start it off with the first B is Bali breezy. And it's just an attitude that sort of permeates the entire island. It's a sentiment that runs deep, but it also reminds me of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Sort of like that, but obviously people are staying longer in Bali most of the time they do in Vegas. And on that note, it's funny because a lot of guys and women that have been there for 8, 9, 10 years, they still like to lean on that phrase a lot. They're still Bali breezy. So in a lot of ways, it's an excuse for some behavior maybe you might want to engage in. But the opportunity is there to be breezy at all times. It's just sort of a laissez-faire, no judgment sort of attitude that, as I said, it permeates everything. But because it's such a transient nature, Bali is, people come and go and around a while, suddenly all of a sudden one day they're gone. So people have gotten used to that and they just sort of take that attitude. Well, they're gone, then we'll see them again maybe someday. But in terms of the dating, it does factor in, because if you're going there maybe to try to find something long-term, it may be more difficult. In fact, I believe it would be overall, because there are a lot of distractions. There's a lot of breezy attitude, behavior going on. And so people are kind of floating about. And so I think that's something to have in mind, is that breezy attitude permeates the men and the women. And I said too, I mentioned in an earlier video, guys just kind of, a lot of time they walk around shirtless. They're going to cafes and eat shirtless. Women walking around in bikinis. It's really a different vibe, different attitude. That's one great thing about Bali. It's really no judgment. And you see, one thing that struck me in Bali when I got there initially was how much you see young girls, young women out. They come there alone and they're out eating alone at night at some nice place, mid-level place that something you don't see in the States, but it's cool. I think it's really great about Bali. There's really no judgment, as I said. It's just you can do what you want to do as long as it doesn't infringe upon someone else's well-being. No one's going to get in the way of that. As I said in another video, unless you get in the way of the authorities somehow, then that could be a whole other issue. But otherwise, the rest of the attitude, the behavior, the whole ethos is Bali breezy. Things come and go, people come and go, and it's going to permeate the dating as well. So have that attitude that maybe don't take things too seriously unless something develops in that area and the two of you have really a clear understanding. And maybe in a lot of cases, like I mentioned before, I had a girlfriend there for quite a while, but she had been there for at least a year, and I think I'd been there maybe about the same amount of time. She'd been there a little bit longer, but maybe you get some of that breeziness out of your system, or you get adjusted to it, and it's not as much of a shock, not as much of a culture shock, and then you get adjusted, ingrained into the living. And that kind of leads into the second one, which is Bali busy is a common term, a real popular term, that people come there. Back in the States where I was from, if you date someone, most of the time, obviously, they're gonna have a job, they're working all day. You're gonna have a job, you're working all day, a lot of time in the evening, sort of get together when you can around the work. A lot of people sort of identify with work. That's sort of the manifestation of their personality, becomes their work, what they do. Bali, it's not the case. You have so many disparate different things that people do. Lots of people entrepreneurial, a lot of that going on. So a lot of online, and a lot of people work remotely. I actually knew 2 girls that they were working remotely, and then somehow the company found out that through the VPN or somehow that they weren't back in their home country, and they just had to both pack up and leave immediately and get back. So that can happen, but a lot of people, yeah, they might work remotely, but their hours might really be wild. So one girl I was talking about, she was working back all the way in Canada remotely, so she had to work really late in the night, but she had the rest of the day free. But just kind of makes for some different scenarios there when you're meeting people, wanting to go out and meet people, get together with people. They have these different schedules, but it's funny also how you just fill up your day with these Bali busy type of activities. I got to go to the gym, got to go eat, you got to go play paddle, you got to go to the salon. It's funny how your day gets filled up with these activities, and suddenly, before you realize it, how did it even work before when I have to do all these things all the time? It's almost like being retired. I know my parents, every time they say, I don't know how I have the opportunity, the time to work. I've got all this other stuff to do. But of course, they get older, they have to go to the doctor a lot. But in Bali, you just find other things that fill up your time, and you get plugged into some communities. You have time to hang out with some people and do different things. So that's a big thing to think about, is it's going to change maybe the way you format your dating, but it does leave a lot more opportunity to be breezy with it, because you got more time, people have more time. Maybe someone's working late at night and you got this whole day to still do something else. So that's a big one. And then this third one, I'm going to really expand upon this. It's not going to be what it seems at first, because I'm going to go deeper. But this is such a big issue, but it's called Bali belly. And if you've been there, you have it, you know it can be really, really terrible at times. And I think you do develop somewhat of an immunity to it over time. When I first got there, my first bout with it was really debilitating. I think I had it for 5 days, got an IV, and man, I was feeling really, really down. But it does lessen. But it continues for me. It continued to come up, and a lot of people I know, they continue to have the issue, and I would continue to have it. It'd be mild most of the time, but it's just more of a nuisance because you've got to stay close to the throne. Things are running right through you, so you might have it for a day, and maybe it lingers on for 2 days, but it might come around every couple of weeks, or maybe it varies. But it's a nuisance, and it kind of, when you leave, I've left now, and no Bali belly. It's definitely endemic to that island, to Bali, and it can be several different things. It can be a strain of E. coli, it can be salmonella, a couple different things it can be beyond that. And my eating was really clean. I really watched what I would eat. But you can get it in the tap water, you can get it in a shower, you can get it brushing your teeth even. So it's hard to escape it. But I'm saying that also to say that as much of a nuisance as that is, and as debilitating it can be for some people, I know some guys still, as I said, they continue to have really rough bouts with it, getting IVs, just being out of commission for 3 or 4 days, and having to deal with this periodically. But people stick, they get hooked in Bali, and something hooks them there, and nothing like Bali belly is going to drive them off. I've known people there that have lived in there for 10 years, decade plus, but a lot of people, they get there, they get caught up in the ethos of the place. And on a deeper level, and I really tried to quantify this when I think about it, but I have another channel actually called Supernatural History, where I look back at ancient texts, look at the Bible, look at different subject matter that was way back. Like I did a video on Lilith, I did a video on even the trans movement, how it started, what the history of it is, or the mark of Cain, or the hive mind is his other principle, or another god called Melkart that lived in, it was in Greece, in the Punic region back in the time of Julius Caesar, Hannibal. Do these different things, but it gets me thinking about how a certain spirit or attitude or something is just pervading Bali to some degree. And it is Hindu there. And with Hindu, they have several thousand, I don't know how many gods they have, but you are surrounded by some of these statues, these demon-looking statues. So I don't know if there's something being conferred by demons, but somehow these statues, it just sort of infiltrates people. And one way it does, and I'll mention, is Bali it's a really tattooed place. I mean, I've never seen so many people tatted up. It could be just a really mild-mannered type of guy who you think would be an accountant or something. He takes his shirt off, he's got a tat all over his back. And I'm talking about tatting back, legs, face, neck. People just really go wild with it. I almost think, is there something in that as well? Does that figure into this? Just an open-ended question, but to some degree, I think it must. And me, I'm a non-tatted guy, so I'm really in the minority there. I mean, if you don't have tattoos, yeah, you're in the minority. I think I looked something up, and I was surprised to see, I think Italy, maybe, I don't know if they're including Bali, maybe they're including Bali and all of Indonesia, but Italy is almost 50% tattooed. I think it's 48% tattooed. The US is getting near 40%. In a lot of cases, in a lot of countries, it's women have higher percentage of tattoos than men. And so that kind of adds into a little bit of the Bali feeling there is, and I don't want to get too deep on this, but when a woman is heavily tattooed, you're going to make some assumptions. Maybe they're not true. In a lot of cases, maybe they aren't true, that you think maybe she's going to be a bit breezier when she's got a lot of these advertisements. And I've always thought as well, Rich Cooper says it's like putting bumper stickers on a Lamborghini, and I kind of agree with that to some degree. But not that, and you see a lot of beautiful women with tattoos. I'm not coming down on tattoos or women that have them, but you can just you can deduce something from that. And it's not the same in every case. I don't want to be totally generalized. And then another thing that is deep within this culture, it's a big yoga culture. And to me, that plays a bit into, I would call it, there's a little bit of a feminist arc to yoga. And a lot of the girls, they go there and they're on sort of a goddess track, so to speak. And I've dated girls that were big into yoga, that teach yoga. And so I wonder there, and with yoga, you have, of course, Shiva along with these other gods. It's very polytheistic, but I think she was one that could transfer into man or woman, but it has this whole ethos to it as well. And there's a bit of a feminist, like I said, a feminist arc with that. And that's going to be something you're going to encounter in Bali as well, I think, to some degree. And that's going to lead me into the point I was going to get to about the Balinese women and the expat women, because there's such a rich supply of the expat women from all over. But guys I know that have really dated around a lot younger than I am, and they're dating around a lot, but I don't know if it's a movement. I know in the States they call it the MGTOW, the men going their own way. But in one way, a friend of mine was telling me just the other day that it's kind of getting to the point where the guys are kind of looking to go their own way, because they feel like a lot of the women there, they sort of want their cake and eat it too. This is his description. But the women they want some of the feminist sort of ideals, but they also want to hang on to a lot of the ideals that are more, they want a man to be chivalrous, they want the man to pay for things, those sorts of things, but they want the sort of the feminist classification that a woman is in many ways things that, and obviously two different sexes, I'm going to start digging myself a hole here, but women are better at certain things and men are better at certain things, but I think they want to maybe in some cases cross over a bit. And so that's an attitude there as well. The yoga, I think, is, to me, it's almost a manifestation of this underlying ethos that's there, that I can't put my finger on it, but it's something to do with maybe the Hinduism and maybe something attached to that. Because I've heard, obviously, a lot of Bali is Muslim, but a lot of Indonesia is Muslim, but Bali's, I think, primarily maybe 80% or maybe more Hindu. But if you do go out to Lombok, I think Lombok is pretty much, it's major majority Muslim out there. And they say it's a whole different field that I haven't been to Lombok, but I've been to Limbagan, I've been Gili Islands, but they say Lombok is really, it's so different in the way that the people treat you, or the attitude of the people. They're just not as friendly, is what I've heard. And they say that they attribute that, maybe it's the fact that it is more Muslim, and maybe the Hindu is just more of and I don't know a lot about Hindu other than being polytheistic, and there are a lot of festivals going on all the time, but I don't really know what's going on with those festivals, those parades. It's not something I have participated in, but maybe that has a lot to do with how the people are so nice and they're so friendly, and they're fun-loving, really smiley people that you can smile at them. Like I say, it's the ultimate currency. You're going to get a smile back, and you're going to have an understanding from that smile. But yeah, the people are so friendly around Bali. But so that's kind of an open. If you have any ideas about that, or if I'm just way off track, if you think I really went too far with my assessment on it, just let me know in the comments, please. I'll engage with you there, and maybe we can sort of put two heads together and figure out what's going on there, if you spend any time there. Or if you think about going there, let me know, and maybe if I can offer any advice there, really feel happy to do it. But that's the 3 Bs, and that sort of encompasses a lot about Bali. Love Bali, gonna be back to Bali, look forward to going back to Bali. So many things about Bali to love, but it is such a unique place, and there is this unique attitude, this sentiment, this it sort of permeates, I said, a lot of things, and it's this ethos of the country, but in so many ways it's so positive. But I'm still maybe a part of people staying there around a long time is they don't know. It's kind of a je ne sais quoi. They don't know what it is, but there's something there that they really attach with, and that really vibes with them in Bali. So like I say, give me your ideas. But those 3 B's, the belly, the busy, and the breezy, I think that's gonna really encompass a lot about what Bali is. So take that, use it. I hope it can help you out. I'm gonna be doing more of these on different countries I've been to: Vietnam, Cambodia, Japan. Going to Eastern Europe, I've been over there, Romania, Greece. So anyway, stay tuned to these. Please subscribe to Health Max Abroad. It helps a lot. There'll be so much great information coming out. I'm doing a short now on coffee. I did another video about coffee. You really want to know about, is coffee a net negative, net positive? I really look deep into the science on that because I've been on and off coffee and want to know a lot for myself. But if you're interested in that, take a look. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks a lot.